Hi, and welcome to Into the Shadows with Sisters 3. It's Friday, November the 13th, and I'm your host, Regina Stewart. And joining us are my co-hosts, Teresa McLean and Rhonda Stone. Tonight, our guest is Christopher St. Booth. Christopher has his hand in just about everything in the paranormal field. He's a producer, director, composer, writer, and he does much, much more. But his most recent project was on a Destination America a couple of weeks ago, and we will chat with him about that here in a little while. Hello, Christopher.
Hello, how are you?
Oh, we're doing good. How are you?
Very good.
That was a little delayed, but there's your applause.
It was like a Japanese movie with little subtitles. I loved it.
Well, we're so happy that you could join us. We have so much to talk to you about. Of course, we've all enjoyed the last couple of weeks, after the exorcism live of the Exorcist House. There's been a lot of talk about that, and so we want to talk to you about that and everything else you have going on. I noticed that you I keep up with you on Facebook and stuff, and I noticed that you were working on your audiobooks.
Yeah, sure. Thank you for asking. I was just actually in the studio recording it. I realized how much work this actually is to do this is actually a shorter book. It's like 180 pages, but I'm doing the narration, so it's like I'm starting to sound like a cross between, like, the accent comes out stronger when I focus and I think talking through a microphone doing this. So actually it's a lot of fun, and I'm really enjoying it because I'm actually getting to read the book myself this way, and I think it's going to turn out absolutely fantastic.
Well, have you announced? I didn't see if you had announced which one you're working on first. Are you waiting to announce that?
No, I'm actually going to do Paranoia first because that one is more of a personal book. It has my personal reflections with obviously our own personal cases and stories that I've gone through the last 10 years. Well, The Exorcist is not really my personal story, even though it's an incredible read. That's actually, about what happened to the boy and the possession and the exorcism. So I thought I would start with Paranoia, and then I will, after I finish that one, I will do the The Exorcist Diary after that.
Oh, that's cool. And you'll be doing all of them yourself?
I'm definitely doing this one myself. I'm not sure if I'm going to do the Exorcist Diary because I guess it gives me a chance to talk like this. If I do some of those and do some of the demon voices in it, I'm not sure how it goes. We'll see how this one goes first, but I'm enjoying doing this one. It's very dramatic, and it's, just reading some of the parts that I had got a chance to, renew myself in them. It's very personal, and it's very, heavy, very dramatic, and I think it's going to be a very good book to listen to.
Yeah, I can't wait. We're going to be doing some traveling, and I thought, well, when that comes out, that'll be something good for people who are traveling in the summertime. I don't know how long it's going to take for you to get that out, but
I'm going to try to do it. I'm going to try. We're trying. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to see if we can get it ready for the holidays or Christmas.
Oh, really?
Get it done right before. Yeah, I'm trying to. Yeah, I mean, I move fast. I own my own studio, so I've kind of booked out a couple of weeks to do this. I'm going through the narration, then after that I'll put some dramatic music to it, a few sound effects, and then the EVPs that obviously go in context with the story. And if I can get that done and the duplication, I will try to get it ready for Christmas. So I'm working every day trying to get that wrapped up.
Oh, wow. Well, so that might be a good stocking stuffer for some people.
Hopefully. Hopefully we can get that done by that time.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to, my co-host, Teresa, she's been waiting all day to ask you some questions, so I'm going to hand it over to her to ask you some of her questions.
Yeah, hi, Christopher. I met you just a minute in the private room there before we started. And, I read up a little bit on you, but I'm not sure if everybody else that's listening knows your whole history and stuff. But what got you started into the paranormal stuff?
Well, basically just doing Death Tunnel at Waverly. We shot a horror movie for Sony at Waverly Hills Sanatorium, and while we were there, things started to happen. That was, paranormal activity, and we filmed us going through that in a documentary, which turned out to be Spooked, which Syfy aired, and that's kind of how it all happened. Is the first experience of what I felt in that death tunnel, and my first sighting and my first EVP that I caught in that tunnel was horrific. And when I had gotten back to Los Angeles and looked through my photos, and I saw what was a girl standing in front of me, a little girl standing in front of me with no eyes, to the point that also there was a scream on the audio tape, I was hooked. And at that point, Syfy loved Spooked, and they gave us a contract for several movies, and we kept going. That's kind of it all started like that.
Yeah, it's kind of addictive. I know once you get the bug, it's hard to get rid of. The other question I had, I know that, and I'm not going to jump right into it because I know that everybody enjoyed watching your show, and I don't know if it was it you that directed it, or what was the Exorcism Live? Was that your project?
No, it was actually a project I was involved in. It wasn't my. I didn't produce it or I didn't direct it. It was a show I was involved in. It was produced by Destination America. Tremendous Entertainment actually shot it for Destination America for Discovery, and they brought me on board basically to bring in the diary, because I have a copy of the real diary, and we had done a previous documentary called The Exodus File, Haunted Boy, which was about the house that they went into to bless, and we actually did the first documentary of going into the house, and actually we brought the cameras for the very first time inside the house to show you what it looked like, and then we documented the whole story basically using the diary as the script, the real diary. So they brought me in basically to kind of like help, some of the truth that was in it, and kind of like, help figure out what was going on in that house and figure out where they should put their cameras and all that kind of stuff, and then evolve the diary in it. So we were there when they did the live exorcism, as well as we had shot some interviews before, and because I went into the house twice in those 2 days of rehearsals before we actually went in to do the blessing. And the house actually had gotten much more heavier than it was when we shot it back in 2010. So I knew that we were in for, some serious mood when everybody went in there.
Everybody has a different interpretation of what they expect, from that. I thought y'all did a great job. So I just want to say that first off, because I know that as an investigator myself, and I've been doing it for a long time, you can't just walk into a place and everything happen at your command. It just doesn't work like that. I'm intrigued with the whole story anyway about the boy. I feel for him and what he went through. Has there been anything after that was significant for you from doing all that?
Well, first of all, I don't know what people expect to see. If they expected to see a demon jump out or somebody flip over and start masturbating on a cross like the movie, I think then you would have known for sure that it was staged and it was fake. For the fact that not a lot really happened showed you that it was real and it was honorable, because they didn't fake anything. Being there, there was a script, but it was a script for the story, not a script for what actually happened, the ghost hunt or the seance or the Ouija board thing or the blessing. None of that was scripted. So it was very real. So for us being down there going through that, as well as them doing a grand old job of bringing over 150 people probably down there. 3 satellite trucks, 10 semi-trailers, whole crew, cameras, everything, to try to get this, live event done in real time was a success. Of course, the ratings was through the roof. It was a great ratings. As far as opinions, it doesn't bother me either way. It's the same on our own movies. It's like, unless you're really there and you know what's going on, you don't really have to defend something that's not defendable, because reason why is you know what happened when you were there. And the same with the Exorcism Live. I knew when which I posted on my Facebook wall, some of the stuff I had shot on my phone, what was going on and the feelings it was very heavy. And it's a house that most people cannot even go into. Like, for instance, my wife, Rachel, couldn't even go into the house. She started to get sick the minute she walked through the front door. Me being the wildflower that I am, the documentarian I am, I got to go in no matter what happens, because it's what I do. It's what I'm interested in it, and I don't know how you're going to break any new ground unless you break the ground and go in there and do it. So for that reason, I thought it was awesome. As far as the aftermath on it, I'm not sure, what TWC had caught as far as, I know they caught some EVPs and some other things like that. As far as the hitchhiking things, which attachments, pretty loaded with faith, light, and medallions, and also the belief, well, obviously, we're there for the right reason, which was to bless a house because the owner is getting ready to have a family. So the reason the house was even blessed in the first place was to clear, the energy out of it so that he could have a family in that house, which is very honorable. And for that reason, we were there for that, for that reason. We haven't heard anything from the owners. We presumably everything is somewhat savvy down there. But I thought it was a great event because it gave a chance for anybody that's never seen inside the real Exorcist house to see inside it. So we had a very, very rewarding time there.
We have a person in the chat room that wanted to ask a question from him real quick, and then I'm going to turn it back over to you, Regina. We have a lady in the chat room. She's one of our listeners that listens every week with us, and we appreciate her for it. And she had a question. She wanted to know if you would talk a little bit about the boy and the case for those of them that are listening out there that are not familiar with the whole Exorcism Live thing or the boy himself. Can you kind of just quickly go over that?
Sure. Well, first of all, for those who don't know, we made a documentary about the real case and the real boy called The Exorcist File Haunted Boy. You can find that on SpookTV.com, or you can go to my Facebook. You can see it all over it. Recently, I just released a book called The Exorcist Diary, which actually is the real diary inside this book that I wrote. 63 pages of what really happened is inside my book, and it kind of tells you it's a real diary, so it's unedited. It's exactly what happened, vulgar and everything, and it's basically a boy, not a girl. It's basically a 13-year-old boy that it went all through. He got possessed, presumably with a Ouija board, and basically the devil lived inside him. A lot of crazy stuff happened that people didn't know, that they didn't show in the movie The Exorcist. Pretty much everything that happened in there happened to him in real life, except there's no turning the head 360. There's no, severe green vomit pea soup. There was no necessary all the walking, down the stairs and all that stuff. But there was reports of levitation. There was all the scarring and these words, certain words came out on his body. He had superhuman strength. He could speak in different languages. He was also a really great singer when he was possessed. For some reason, he had the ability to sing really well compared to he was a non-singer when he was not possessed. He knew Latin very well. He was very foul. And it lasted for almost 4 months. until, he was exorcised. Of course, the boy is still alive, and he went on to become an officer scientist and create patents for the space program, creating like heat shields for the moon missions and stuff like that. So, it's a very fascinating story. If you want to know more, you could actually read it in my book, The Exorcist Diary, at theexorcistdiary.com or spooktv.com. But it's an incredible story, and if you're really into that stuff, it's incredible what you find out. For instance, like when the boy was possessed, he would write on the sheets what the devil told him to do. And in our documentary, The Exorcist File, we show you those sheets. So in my book, it actually says what he wrote on those sheets, including he drew a map of where hell was, which is about 2,000 feet below. So it's a very fascinating story. I wish actually we could have went into more of that in Exorcism Live, but it was a story about blessing the house. It wasn't necessarily a story about the past history. Even though when they first went in the house in 1949, the first thing they did was blast that house. And when they did, the boy was there. And when they did start their first rites of the Novena blessing, that's when the boy started getting words raising on his chest that said hell, scratches all over his body, including the mattress levitated. So, scary story.
It's a very interesting story, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's fascinating. You're into that stuff, you got to know it. It intrigues me as a documentarian. I use it as a study of the supernatural paranormal. You can get a real diary that tells you what happened, and you can also compare it to real, different psychology of people that are mentally ill, bipolar or whatever it may be. And you do a nice cross-reference to try to find out what really went down. And that's basically why I got a hold of the diary, to do a little study on whether it was possession or he truly was mentally ill.
Oh, no, and Teresa was just kind of saying, and with this, with the boy, there were no signs of that with him before the event?
No, not really, no. A young boy is always, I'm sure a little bit rebellious and punkish like, but no, not really. He completely changed his whole concept. You got to figure back in 1949, there was a lot less to be influenced as far as perversion and being twisted compared to on the internet. You can see anything or learn anything pretty quick. Back then there was none of that kind of stuff. So anything he would have learned, he would have to learn from, his family, friends, or even TV was very well guarded as far as, showing the wrong things, broadcast safe, so to speak. So, the good point is that if you really want to see the existence of the devil, look at what man does.
That is the truth. That is the truth. Well, I kind of wanted to veer off a little bit, and maybe can you tell people a little bit about, because I know you have the Exorcist File, and then you also have Paranoia. Can you tell us just a little bit about what Paranoia is about?
Well, Paranoia is a book about the paranormal, obviously, paranoia, but also the paranormal. It's a fine line between the mental state and then also the ghost state, so to speak. And after spending over 10 years doing documentaries and motion pictures about the paranormal and actually being involved and seeing a lot of real paranormal activity and interviewing and learning from a lot of the greats, John Zaffis, all the different people like that. I learned a lot, and also seeing stuff I can't explain, and then going to do cases and things just freaking out and blowing out in front of you, showing themselves, people showing who they really are, whether it's possession or incubus, succubus, takeover, whatever it may be. It's basically a book of, it's like almost like a biography, but it's a documenting of my years with Syfy channel and also with my own company, Spooked TV, about what happened for that last 10 years, whether it's Waverly Hills, Rolling Hills, Hinsdale House, the Roth House, the Secret Wonder House, Stanley Hotel, all the places I went to and what I experienced and what happened after, the Exorcist house, what happened, as well as my own aftermath, my own psyche, my own attacks of being attacked in a hotel room by an unseen force, how to deal with that when I got back to Los Angeles, and now the shadows seem to be crawling on the walls, and my whole life seemed to take a twist. And is it really a darkness that followed me, or is it just me becoming paranoid now because of what you go through? I mean, demons get blamed for everything, I mean, because you have a flat tire doesn't mean you picked up something on the way home, but doesn't mean you didn't as well. So it balances it out. It's got a lot of its spirituality involved. So it's a really good read. I mean, I'm actually in the process of turning it into an audiobook right now, and it's with some music and some sound effects and the real easy piece. But it's a very strong thing. I mean, if I would say something out of it, would be like, here's a paragraph out of it. As a paranormal investigator, your sole mission is to help in any way you can, but you almost respect what you cannot. Be compassionate and understand. You're in their house with their rules. We need hot like we need cold. We need life like we need the afterlife. Death is not final. The thought of dying and becoming a ghost, continuing in limbo, is a big wake-up call, to say the least. This is what paranormal storytelling is all about, not your own reality show or the team who have the most evidence wins. It's about the history, the people, and most of all, it's about the spirits that linger on. We must fight to tell the true story, not full of lies. After all, there's nothing more scarier than the truth. That's from the book. So, it's a very deep, serious study and respectful study into the paranormal.
I love it. I have not gotten a chance to purchase your books, but I am. And can you let people know? You told us earlier, are both the books? Can you purchase them at the same place, or are they?
Yeah, well, actually, there's Spooked TV, which is my company, has a sale going on right now. It's a Black Friday sale, of course. Black Friday, everybody's doing Black Friday. So it's actually, you can get Paranoia, and you can get also, it comes with a free DVD, which is the best of the Booth Brothers, which is The Unseen, and that's free when you buy Paranoia. And also, if you buy the Exorcist if you buy the Exorcist Diary, you also get a free copy of the documentary, and that's the Exorcist File. So you can find that on my Facebook, Christopher St. Booth, or you can go to www.spookedtv.com, the spookedtv.com, or the exorcistdiary.com, and you'll find all the specials up there and all this cool stuff we're talking about. Also, keep in mind that $5 of every book sold of the Exorcist Diary goes to help the United States Old Catholic Church fight homeless. We give $5 to the homeless ministry to help clothe children and feed the children this winter.
That's fabulous. And while we're kind of letting you promote everything, I just want to let people know that your wife Rachel, she does a lot too. She makes her jewelry and has all that going, and she's very crafty with her jewelry and stuff. Is there somewhere where people can find her? I know I have her on we've been friends on Facebook for a while, and I get to see all her jewelry that she puts on there and stuff. But I just kind of wanted to put that out there because I think it's neat, the things that she puts together.
Yeah, she does great stuff. I mean, she uses real gems, real stones, and with real loving care when she puts it together. So it has a lot. I think without sounding like a salesman or pushing it, what I was very blown away with or very overwhelmed with is the fact of the love and the light that goes into it. I mean, if I'm sitting here creating, I'm a musician as well, so I do all the music to our films as well. So say if I'm in here creating art or I'm creating music, and she's out there creating jewelry, and she's putting that very beautiful light, because she has great energy into it. So when people get it, they know that it's done by someone that has positivity in their soul, and not darkness, which I think is really important when you wear something that somebody makes. And she does these real stones and all a unique design. She does custom orders as well. I think if you go to if you type in, say, Facebook rags to riches by R, the letter R. So it's Rags to Riches by R. You can find her stuff. Or you can go to Rachel Marie Booth on Facebook and post it everywhere. She's got an Etsy site going on. I don't really know what the website is, but you could find it that way.
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to kind of give you the opportunity for that because I see her posting stuff all the time, and I think it all looks great. So I wanted to give you time for that, and I kind of want to skip around to something real quick because this was a while back, and I noticed, and I don't know if you would be willing to talk about it or not, but I noticed where you and your brother had gone to the Cecil Hotel, which is now called something else, but
Stay on the Main.
Can you talk?
Stay on the Main.
Stay on the Main.
Stay on the Main.
Can we talk about that, or is that something you have
Sure.
in the works?
No.
Something
I can talk
doing
about
something?
it. No. Well,
okay,
I can talk somewhat. Yeah, I can talk somewhat.
Okay. Well, as a lot of people know that follow, of course, American Horror Story, know that it's kind of loosely based off of this hotel. And many things have happened there over the years. It's housed serial killers, kind of the seedy, I guess that's the best way to put it, the seedy people of Los Angeles kind of tend to gravitate to this place. What were your experiences there? Or did y'all go there for actual investigation or just to spend time there to see what it was all about? Or what was your take on the Stay on Main?
Well, the Cecil Hotel, basically we were doing a pilot for a show. Philip and I was doing a sort of a supernatural detective documentarian thing. And one of the cases that I brought in that I wanted to do was the Syfy Hotel, a hotel that was built in around the 1920s, had about 700 rooms when it first started. Basically a Skid Row hotel. It started out as a hotel for depression. In the Depression era. Then after, things got worse, it turned it into basically down and out people stayed there. So it already had a lot of that sort of energy. Poverty breeds evil in general. So you talked about 6 people jumping off the roof, a shooter on the roof that shot 15 shots off the top. There was many jumpers, killed people jumping and killing people actually on the ground when they hit, people landing on the marquee and dying. There's 6 or 7 of those people doing it. 2 serial killers lived there, Richard Ramirez being one. I think Jack, I forgot his last name, McGovern or something, an Australian copycat. He was a news reporter that was actually coming in to do stories on serial killers and actually turned into one himself. And he killed a few girls, raped and murdered them, as well as there was also a girl stuffed in the mattress. Very similar to what American Horror Hotel is doing. So a lot of those concepts are true. And leading right up to, of course, the incident of the girl that disappeared in the elevator, which was Elisa Lam. And I don't know if you know that story, but Elisa Lam was a student who came from Vancouver, Canada to stay for whatever reason, stayed in one of the most shoddiest, seediest hotel in Los Angeles, a place that doesn't have air conditioning, a place that doesn't have bathrooms in most rooms, a place that is in the most dangerous part in L.A. She stays down in there, and the last time she's seen is by surveillance footage from the cameras in the elevator. And I don't know if you've seen this footage, but it's all over the web. And she's in there hiding from some unseen force. You can't see who's chasing her, but she's pacing in the hotel. She's looking forward. She's banging on the, on the floor buttons in the elevator, trying to, go somewhere. The elevator keeps acting strange. She runs out in the hallway. You see her yelling at some invisible force, and suddenly she starts acting rigid and almost catatonic, almost like she's possessed. And then she disappeared. So, there she's gone, and then 2 weeks later, the hotel is starting to complain that the water is, backed up. The water turns dark, it starts to stink, and people are drinking it, and they're taking showers in it, and it's just disgusting. So they send someone up to check the water tanks on the top of the roof, and they find this girl inside the water tank, naked and dead. She'd been there for 2 weeks, and the residents had been bathing in her and drinking her. So that sounded like a really good story to investigate, mostly because I wanted to try to get closure for Ms. Lamb's family. I thought that was really important. Suddenly they just said, hey, your daughter's, accidentally drowned in the water tank, which she could not get in. She had to go through alarms and the whole thing to get onto the roof. She could not get in the water tank, though it was impossible to open the door. And if you did open up the door to get in the tank, you couldn't close it, and it was closed behind her. So there was so many different things that was missing from this closed story of her just accidentally drowning or even committing suicide. None of it made sense, and we wanted to find out what really happened there. So we went down there, and we rented the room, and we filmed inside it, and we got some incredible, strange things that happened on the roof. And that's about really all I can say until our show gets out there. But it's a very seedy hotel.
So that is something in the future that we have to look forward to.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe a book, too.
Well, how could it not be? I mean, there's so many stories. There's so many things that have happened there. I mean, I've done the research, and like you were explaining, I've watched the video of the young lady, and it's intriguing. It really makes you almost can't get it out of your mind. Once you start reading about it, and once you watch that video of her in the elevator, it's one of those things that you feel like you have to know more. You have to get the answers.
Well, it's an intriguing story, but it's also an important story because, it's a really good detective supernatural story because was it possession or was it, true crime?
Right.
Horrific human crime, and of course, or was it both? And I found it very fascinating and interesting, and the fact that it screamed it needs closure was very rewarding. If we could try to get some closure for the family.
Yes, that's the main thing is that there are no answers. Yes,
exactly.
Well, yeah. So that's something we'll be waiting on the edge of our seat for then to see what you guys came up with, the conclusion there. And Rhonda, my other co-host is Rhonda, and I know she had some questions for you. Rhonda?
Absolutely. Hi, Christopher.
Hello.
You have been involved in just about everything. Is there like one certain project that you've done in the past that stands out to you that you I guess it was like a favorite for you to do?
Well, I think the Teresa Hotel was fabulous because it had never been touched. I think what we found out, there's some things I brought in there was 3 psychics involved, but they weren't on the location. They actually didn't know the case we were working on. I had just sent them pictures of a elevator panel. What I felt there was some kind of energy in this photograph. They had no idea about the case or where it was. I just sent them a picture of a very close-up elevator. And I had gotten the same reaction from 3 of those psychics. They'd written down a numeral and they had drawn something else. And that was very fascinating to me because, researching that I was able to find out more of what happened to her when she was at the hotel, and that was exciting for me because, you know, we were all working together. You know, everybody was working together, kind of like a unity thing to help get closure for this. So that was beautiful. But as far as the older ones, nothing, you know, the feeling of being in Waverly Hills, I was a virgin basically before then in the paranormal. So that was like, wow. You know, that was, you know, seeing the little girl in the tunnel in my photograph. And then, you know, going through what happened to Waverly Hills, which pretty much was overwhelming. Of course, the other one is the ex's house. And again, you know, I don't want to say if we had the pleasure. I mean, I think to go back there again, which we just did with Exorcism Live with Destination America Discovery Channel, but is that we went there and it's the same feeling came back, but 10 times worse. And I got so sick that day. But, I mean, those are the kind of feelings I remember because that is like paranormal and overdrive. Right. That's what we do it for, is to pick it up there to help us, you know, saying we're getting, the closer you get, the sicker you're going to feel. I think that makes a lot of sense thinking about that right now.
Yeah, I agree with you. And have you noticed since, like, your first experience, like, at the Waverly House, as time has progressed, that you notice more things happening, that you're more aware? Oh,
yeah. You know, once you're given, and I call it a blessing, if you're giving the unique gift, a gift from an afterlife spectral spirit, so to speak, that you see them or you capture some kind of, you know, A1, Class A positive evidence that they exist, whether to apparition, maybe some kind of light abnormality, the form of the real orb, not the dust and the bugs orbs. I mean, there are forms of real light that is unexplainable, or shadow, a serious shadow figure of thermal imager flare, reminiscence or whatever. Those are gifts to you to see them and communicate with them, especially with real-time EVP. That is a gift. And once you've been given that, if you're sensitive and if you have empathy and if you're full of emotion, you can't say no. I mean, going back from the Wasika Wonder House when we did the documentary The Possessed, going back to Los Angeles and listening to raw audio tapes while you're editing it, and you hear EVP of a little girl saying, "Mommy, why is Daddy doing this to me?" And you know there was no children at all in the house when you were there, knowing that for sure you've picked this up. It's like somebody's saying, "Help me," and you don't do anything about it. You don't go back. You don't try to fix this. You know, you see someone hit on the road and you don't turn around to help them. That is kind of what it's about. And I think, you know, for those reasons, you're blessed to be involved, and that's why I guess I got so intrigued, because it opened up its arms, you know.
Sure. Is there like a particular place that you haven't done yet or visited that you would just really, really like to go to?
Well, the suicide forest would be great, you know, in Japan, where everybody, you know, basically all those people commit suicide all the time in that forest in Japan. I'm not sure what the name of the forest is, but it's nicknamed the Suicide Forest. I like that concept, to understand what is in those woods that draws them. I love that concept. I would like to go to Tibet. I would like to interview the Dalai Lama on his feeling of the afterlife. I would like to explore the temples, the monastery. That would be beautiful.
When you do, you let me know so I can find out what happened.
I will.
That would be very interesting.
Well, yeah, I want to kind of go more a little bit into the personal life of Christopher and ask a kind of question about how you kind of balance everything that, you know, balance the business side of things and your family life, because I know you're married and have children, and how do you balance things? How do you leave that paranormal side of things kind of like at the door and then have your family time?
Well, first of all, balance is everything. And people that don't think that's true, that is, it's all around you for proof. Hot, cold, wet, dry. It's everything. Land, sea. You always have the opposite. So you get good, bad. God, Satan. That's why you can't have one with the other. God will never win. Satan will never win. They have to have both to survive. So with that instead, that means you have to have balance, and then you have to know your boundaries between it. I think that someone had asked me, I was doing a written interview right before I got on with you guys in a magazine, and basically I think what came out is that finally finding your half a circle when you're born, so you're constantly looking for the other half of that circle to be complete, the soulmate concept. Once you find that, especially after going through a few and you're divorced a few times, you have the respect not to fuck this one up. So I think in that matter, you make time, and you make time for everything. But you cannot have business and no personal, but you cannot just have personal and no business. You have to have a balance. So I think that's what we do. I have studios in my house. I've always had studios in my house. As far as turning off the paranormal, I don't think I ever turn it off. It's always there. I mean, I think every now and then me and Rachel yells at the invisible cat to stop knocking things over because we have a ghost cat in the house, or there's an old lady that's here that's a ghost. But we're not afraid of it. We just tell her to stop it when she's knocking things over, or we hear things knocked over, So it never ever ends, but at the same time you don't push, you're not obsessed with something. Obsession is dangerous. It really is. You need to know when to turn everything off. Too much TV, too much, Facebook, too much anything. You need to just know when to turn it off. But at the same time, as paranormal has become spirituality to me, so there's not much difference between life and the afterlife. It's all real. So it's just a nice circle.
Well, I can completely understand where you're coming from, because paranormal for me is my normal. I mean, that's the best way I can. Yeah, it's the best way I can explain it, because it's just I'm a medium, and that's never turned off. I can shut it down for a little bits of time, but it's never gone. It's always there. But I think it was interesting that you said you had a ghost cat, because my co-host Teresa, she has the same thing at her house. She has some issues with that, with her, what she calls her hitchhiker, her attachment. Mm-hmm. Actually he can put himself out there as a cat figure. So I think that's neat that's something that you're dealing with also. But anyways, I kind of had a I don't know, funny question, I guess, about your time at the Exorcist, the live exorcism. I just kind of wanted to know, because I know that it was a very heavy situation, that y'all were going into there. But were there any behind the scenes things that happened that were, I don't know if a blooper would be the right word, but you know how they have blooper reels of behind the scenes type things? And I know when you're in a heavy situation that might not sound like, but I know people are just people, So were there any things behind the scenes that could be put on a blooper reel?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I think on our DVD, the Unseen, it has a whole section called bloopers, because there were so many things that happened that are silly. Like, for instance, the Exorcist file, Haunted Boy, that we did. Everybody was hungry, so we ordered pizza from Domino's. So when the pizza boy came, the pizza man, I don't think there's such a thing as a pizza boy anymore. A pizza guy comes, he brings 15 pizzas, and I say to him, "Did you forgot the holy water?" Well, I go, "You have no idea where you're at, do you?" He goes, "No." "Why?" And I go, "Well, you remember the movie, da-da-da-da-da, The Exorcist?" And he goes, "What?" And I go, "Yeah, well, you're here right now. This is the Exorcist house. You stop the freak out." See, and then we take him into the bedroom where it really happened, and he's just dying. And we're filming all this. That's on the behind the scenes on the Exorcist file, Haunted Boy. That was a nice blooper. And the other blooper was when we did the Rustica Wonder House, the Roth House, which is, where the 18-year-old girl possessed the 13-year-old girl after she died 12 years earlier. She possessed her, and it's an incredible ghost story. We did that old house in Waseca, Illinois. It's like a turn-of-the-century house, and it's really incredibly charismatic. But there was this one room that was sealed up, and me and Keith Age was going through it, and I said, "Well, what's in that? What's in that room?" And suddenly the door opened by itself, and out I heard, what I thought was a cat sound or something. But I'd seen a cat earlier running around, and I said, "Well, I'm allergic to cats, right?" And I'm one of those persons that get my eyes sealed shut when a cat walks by, Terrible thing, but it is what it is. So I closed the door, and then I thought, well, I hope I didn't do anything. And so we go and look in to see, well, what is in this room anyway? It's boarded up. So we open the room up, and we stick the film imager in, and there's this horrific cat just staring at it. It looks like a zombie cat. Really scary. And I said, "Oh my God!" When I slammed the door, I must have hit the cat in its face. So I'm freaking out, thinking I killed a cat or something. Because he says, "Well, the thermal imager is reading that the cat's not alive. This cat's dead." And I'm going, I felt really terrible now because I thought that pushing the door killed the cat. So I thought I was going to go to hell and everything, And I just killed this cat. And then he goes, "Oh, my God, this cat's not even breathing, and it's just staring at me." So we turned the lights on. We found out it was a stuffed cat. Somebody put a stuffed cat in his room, and meanwhile, I thought I'd killed this cat. So there was, these are the kind of bloopers. Bloopers are on all our stuff, and that's, kind of lighthearted. But I kind of think that you need a sense of humor. It's so serious what's going on in this world. And what's happening. In fact, with due respect, I'd like to say that we should all put a prayer up for Paris tonight. What has happened in Paris is a horrible thing. And the only way we can stop that is by promoting really good energy right now and causing this strong fold of positive energy that stops all this negative energy, because it's a big collection of negativity going on. And we must stop that. So I just wanted to, say the respects for Paris while we just mentioned that right then.
Yeah, I did. I noticed that you're a twin.
Yes, identical.
You're identical is what you said?
Yeah, he's 1 hour, Philip's 1 hour older than me.
So how does that work? Do you all kind of feed off of each other?
Yeah. That when we do work together, we work very well together. We kind of know what each other's thinking. Indeed.
Have you ever done that together, where if you're identical, of course, trick people a little bit?
A little bit. I mean, not so much now, and I think we're very different as we're getting older. We're getting more different. So I think that we used to do that when we were a lot younger, but I think we both are married now, and we both have, I guess other things in the life that we're thinking about, so not so much anymore.
And then the other question I had, because I know that we keep going back to the exorcism live thing, but that's the only reference I have, because I just found out who you were through Regina and did a little research on you myself, and you're a very interesting person, and you have a really neat history. Whenever you were doing all that and you were together with all those people, was there a lot of paradrama? That's the way I'd like to put it.
On that set?
Yes.
No, not on that set.
Not on that set.
Not on that set.
Oh.
No, there's a picture that I posted of me and Chip, and I don't know if you've seen it. It's on my wall. It's posted a couple times. It's truly exactly what it was like. It's a picture of, I'll describe the picture. I'm kind of got both my hands on his shoulders, and I'm looking at him directly in his eyes, kind of saying, hey, we got to get through this. This is really rattling and scary. And you can see the emotion in Chip's eyes looking at me back. And that's what I never actually said what I was saying in that picture. I probably should. I was saying that, you know, this is great that we're all together to do this as a family, because I know Chip for a while. And I know Bishop James Long, the exorcist, was the priest that married me and Rachel. I've known James for a long time as well. So, and the TWC guys, Tennessee Wraith Chasers, I just met a couple months ago, but they were really nice people, and we had quite a few drinks together quite a few times, and we were, you know, we were fun. We were fun together, you know. So they all, it was really truly like a big family. Of course, Greg, who was our investigator in Paranormal Task Force in our original documentary, The Haunted Boy, was there as well. So, I mean, I pretty much do everybody. I mean, the producers kept on trying to introduce me to everybody, and I knew everybody there when I was there. So it's like, oh, well, you know everybody. Yeah, I did. So there was not a drama at all. I think the only drama that was going on was the people that were on Twitter that was watching the show. They were the ones who were making it dramatic, making the power drama. We were there to do a job, was to bless a house. Wasn't to bring a demon in. It wasn't to, you know, unearth the evil spirits. It was to cleanse the house. And if something happened, you know, the cameras were there to capture it on the tape. So it actually was one of the most beautiful shows as far as everybody, you know, watching out for each other's back that I've ever done. Well, that's what's really cool about it. That's what's beautiful. That's why we're different from each other, so that we need each other. And if everybody was the same, we wouldn't need each other. I wouldn't need you. You wouldn't need me if we were exactly the same. You are after from something you don't have. So as long as we have what each other don't have, we communicate.
So true.
Do you think that would you be up for another event like this, like the Exorcism Live, if they called in and said, listen, next year we're going to do, and I don't know, maybe it's already in the talks, but is that something that you would be willing to do again, an event like that?
Definitely. I mean, I have my own ideas, and I'm a producer, so I produce my own shows as well as pitch, you know, ideas and do whatever. But definitely, I think live events are great. Though unfortunately, you know, you might not get what you're looking for because things don't happen in real time. You know, and they don't happen in real time. They happen, you know. I mean, a lot of our shows, you know, have taken years to film. So we've been back and forth. Some of the places like Wayville, San Antonio, we've been back 3 years. So we've been able to collect enough evidence to show you, but things don't happen in a minute. Things don't happen overnight. Things don't happen in weeks. They happen when they happen. So that's the problem about live events, is that a lot of people might get disappointed because they don't, you know, get to see something that they're hoping to see.
Yeah, but I guess the great thing is that where you have the pre-recorded reenactments of what has happened, or the clips from the movie, you know, your movies and things like that, you have that to kind of put in with the live, you know, the live part. So it's you're getting kind of the best of both worlds there, because you're getting to see a little bit of the what really happened with the reenactments, and then you're seeing, you know, the live aspect of it.
Well, like I said, I think it was a well-produced show. I know that we licensed off our show, the Exorcist File Haunted Boy, to them to play, and they used a lot of it in it. A lot of the reenactments was our stuff, and some of the investigative evidence was our stuff. But I thought that the producers did a great job, and I think that they were really sweet people. I have to say that. I've never met a nicer network than Destination America and Discovery, as far as being really nice on the set and really caring about everybody and being very respectful to everybody, manners to the zing-zang, so to speak. So it was a very nice experience. Unfortunately, there's a lot of the people are damned if you do or damned if you don't. So it is what it is. But to me, it was a nice breakthrough. It was really good.
Yeah. Well, I kind of wanted to ask you about. I noticed. I think it was a week or two ago that you had taken. Is it you that is do you do the photography of Rachel whenever
Yes,
we
I
see
do.
her photos online?
Yes,
okay.
I do.
They were just beautiful photos that you had posted the last couple of weeks. I think it's been within the last week or two that you had done that shot, I believe. Is that something that you do just kind of for personal, like your personal shoots or whatever, or do you do that for other people or for the public or?
Well, I used to work for Playboy. I did Playboy a long time ago, but I didn't really do photographs. I actually did the production design, and meaning that I created the sets and matched the wardrobe with the makeup to make it look beautiful. When I worked for Playboy, they were big productions, so they were very story driven. Of course, that isn't the case nowadays, but back then when we worked for them, it was very big time fable fairy tale stuff that we did. So I think that I've always been an art director and a production designer, and also being in cinematography myself. I have an eye, I think, for photos. It's necessary what you're looking for. You see what you're looking for. And Rachel being very photogenic, she's an easy model to capture in some senses, and so I enjoy doing it. So I think, I do it for other people, but mostly the stuff I've done for Rachel, I do on my day off, like, hey, it's date night, let's go have dinner, have a few drinks, let's take some pictures. It's like, and have fun. And and then I edit them, within hours, and I post them. And they usually turn out, I'm very happy with the way they turn out. And then I move on back, it hits Monday morning, I move back to my day job, which is, filmmaking, documentary, and paranormal and music and stuff like that.
I just wanted to bring that up because I just thought a couple of those photos were just they were just like a old Hollywood era, that I thought they were just really good photos, and I didn't know if that was something that was offered, to others, or if that was just something that you kind of did for in your spare time. But
sure. I think if the situation arose, I probably would do that. I'm thinking about doing some big photo shoots when I have time. Right now, I'm wrapping up the audio book for Paranoia, and then my son Gabriel, who's 8, will be spending time with me through Christmas, which I'm very excited about. I don't see him very much, so I get him this Christmas, so I'll be spending time with him. And then, of course, I will be, at that point, developing new shows, new ideas, and all kinds of cool stuff. But you never know. Whatever lays lays in front of me, I might pick it up,
Right. Well, I also find it interesting that you really started out in the music field, kind of in the music field. You were musically inclined, and you actually you had a band, or were a member of a band. Can you tell people a little bit about that maybe don't know that part of you?
Yeah, I've been in rock and roll. I still am, really, because I do all the music to the film. For every film we've done, including Dead Still, which is the new one that we just finished with Syfy. It's a horror movie about a haunted deaf Victorian camera. So I just did the score for that, but I do the scores for all our movies. But I've been in rock and roll since I was, professionally since I was 13. And then my first big break was when I turned 18. I joined a band called Sweeney Todd, which I replaced a singer named Bryan Adams. So Bryan Adams went on to do his solo career, and I took his place. And that's kind of where I started, and ended up in L.A. playing all the clubs. Motley Crue backed us up. They actually were a backing band at the time. And I was just doing that, and then I needed extra money and started getting into the film business. And then I kind of moved over to the film business, but still kept into the music publishing side. And I still play today, and I still sing. I'm a lead singer as well. So I still do all that, and I enjoy it very much. And I think it's my love. It's my first love. Unfortunately for me, I didn't make, that much of a living. I mean, I still do, but not as much living as I needed not to just be able to do that. Otherwise, I would still be doing that. I kind of needed to do movies as well to make the kind of living I needed to survive.
Did you have any other questions for Christopher before we have to? We're getting close to running out of time. We've just been having a great conversation here, and time's getting away from us.
Not really any questions, but I do want to say, Christopher, you have a great energy. I think you're fantastic.
Thank you.
What I like about what you do, what?
I try. Thank you.
Well, you're doing a great job. What I like about what you're doing is that you're keeping everything real. It seems, you're not sugarcoating things. You're not putting stuff out there that are not true, and that draws people. So you have, like I said, you have a fantastic energy, and we really appreciate you coming on the show. You have been a fantastic guest. You've been very interested.
Well, thank you. Well, I hope that. Well, thank you. I hope that anybody that's interested in the books can get them at www.spookedtv.com. That's spookedtv.com. Both books are up there right now, and they got some good Black Friday sales going on as well. The Exorcist File, which is the documentary of the Exorcist, you can get that for $10 right now on our site for the Black Friday, and that's a great documentary. Anybody wants to know more about really what happened in the Exorcist story, there's a great one for you. I'm working on an audio book right now, and hopefully keep your eyes open for that. That'll be finished hopefully soon. If you have Amazon and you're a Prime member, a lot of our movies are free up there. We have 9 movies that we've made, and I think 5 of them are on Amazon Prime. So if you're a Prime member, you get to see them for free. If you aren't a Prime member and you want to download them and watch them, we have our own streaming site now, which is spookedtv-od.com. So it's spookedtv-od.com, basically Spook TV overdose or on demand, however you want to put it. spookedtv-od.com, and you can get all of our titles in high definition up there. You can rent them, stream them, or download them. And on our site, Spooked TV, we do have some DVDs still available, though we are phasing them out. Exodus File is available. Spooked, the original one, of Waverly Hills, is available right now. And Dead Still, our brand new movie that we made for Syfy Channel, will be out on DVD next year. And, of course, Mineral Wells, I believe, or is it Mineral Springs or Mineral Wells, one of those places in Texas. I can't remember now. December 4th, we're playing in Texas in, I believe it's Mineral Wells.
Mineral Wells, yes.
Yeah, I keep getting confused with the Alton gig, the place in Alton, Illinois. Yeah, Mineral Wells, we're playing there. That's our last gig of the year. Me and Rachel will both be there with her stuff and my stuff. And then after that, we will be taking a vacation from my little boy, and then we'll be picking everything exciting like the Cecil Hotel and all that cool stuff I told you about, picking back up.
That's
well,
amazing.
That sounds fabulous. It sounds like this next year is going to be very busy for you. Sounds like you're going to have a lot of projects in the works and a lot of stuff that people can be looking forward to.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we're excited by the whole thing, indeed.
Well, and I'm going to put on because we're out of Texas, so I'm going to put on online the Mineral Wells. I don't know if they are sold out for that event yet or not, but that's just right down the road from us. So you may end up seeing any one of us there.
Well, that would be great. Yeah, I think we have a Facebook site that tells you all the everything going on there. Of course, I think it's on my wall, and it will be posted on my wall shortly to give you all the information you need.
Absolutely. I know it's a neat little town. They have a big hotel there, the Baker, that's known to be haunted, and that's been abandoned for many years. And so that's just a really a neat town there. Do you have any last questions, or?
Yeah, I do. Christopher, when are you going to come towards Florida?
Well, I was in Florida, darling, actually. I usually go to Florida in March because that is the Gasparilla Film Festival that I have a lot of films in, as well as I talk on the panel about independent filmmaking and distribution. So I usually am in Tampa Bay in March, and if I had it my way, I'd be in Florida a lot more than just March. I love Florida, and so I know that we're going to try to do more gigs in New York, in Michigan, in California, and in Florida next year, because those are the places we haven't hit as hard as the Midwest and South, as we've been doing the last few years. Yeah, it's beautiful down there, indeed it is.
Yeah, we love it, and I also wanted to say to you that how much we appreciate you doing our show. You're a very interesting guest, and really, really glad to have you.
Well, thank you for having me, darling. And God bless Paris. God bless everyone, okay? And we'll talk to you guys soon, okay?
Thank you
so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So what do you think, if any one thing that we talked about with Christopher, what has caused you to want to be his fan now? Like, what's the one thing that kind of stuck with you?
For me, is that he keeps everything real. Like, they don't, like he was talking about with the Exorcism Live show, there's no split green pea soup coming out of their mouth. They keep it real. And just like we were saying before at the beginning of the show, things don't happen on command. If they did, that would be fabricated, because it just doesn't happen that way. And that's, kind of what he was saying with his documentaries and, with his Exorcism Live show. They kept everything real, and they went into it with kind of a sense of humor, too, on kind of a dark subject. The exorcism makes a lot of people uncomfortable. They don't like talking about it. It makes them, because they don't understand things, of course, and if you don't understand it, it makes you uncomfortable. But, like you were saying with the pizza guy, can you imagine doing a show like this and having somebody come deliver pizza and you're like, hey, man, come on, let's go back in the back bedroom. Let me show you around. That guy must have been terrified. So that's what I liked about it. I liked that he's down to earth and that he's real.
Mhm. Well, and that's why I thought it'd be fun to ask him that question about the bloopers, because not everything excuse me, not everything is going to be as heavy. There has to be something to break up that heaviness of situations when you're doing stuff like that. So and I know, people are real, and they're gonna trip, or they're gonna see things and freak out, and like the cat. It was a stuffed animal cat. He saw it, he freaked out, but it really was nothing. And so, I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's just really interesting that, and he's so honest and forward with everything. You ask him a question, he's going to tell you, exactly how it happened, or. And I wanted to get more on him, because when he started laughing whenever we asked him about the paradrama, well, obviously that happened. That's happening somewhere, because he started laughing about it. But I thought, I better not go any further with that. But I thought it was cute, because he started laughing like, oh, the paradrama, Yeah, and I've known that over the. I don't know. I've probably been friends with him on Facebook for a year or two, probably about 2 years. And and kind of watched what he was doing, and when he did Dead Silence last year, and his wife Rachel actually had a part in that movie. She played a kind of like a doll. I don't want to say demented, but kind of a demented-looking doll in that movie. And so that's when I started really knowing who she was, and I friended her on Facebook, and I kind of watched. I'm fans of theirs. I like what he does, and she does a lot of work with him, and then she also has her jewelry and stuff. So they're just both really down-to-earth people, and and they have their children, and they're family-oriented, and I like to see that. I like to see the real side of people, even the people that are in the spotlight. You want to see that they're leading real lives, just like the rest of us.
Well, see, just like you, now I'm going to go back and watch some of those movies because I have never seen any of his work. So you brought him to my attention through this venue, and I think that's neat. So we're learning more and more about people, not just the ring of people that we surround ourselves with, because we know a lot of different people. But I've seen him before. I just didn't know exactly who he was. But now, my interest is piqued, and I will be looking into his movies and his books also.
Well, and what about the how he talked about the Cecil Hotel, which is now Stay on Main in L.A., which is what American Horror Story Hotel is loosely based on, and he actually gave us some inside scoop on that about some of the things that actually did happen that they are putting into American Horror Story, as far as like the people the person they found in the mattress, and some of the a few of the serial killers that were that lived there and things like that. So I think it's that was very interesting, and that's something that's coming up for him in the near future. So we'll be seeing. I imagine we'll probably be seeing some a documentary, some work on that, maybe a TV show or something like that on television. So that's kind of interesting that we got that information. Well, I think we're running out of time, so I want to thank Christopher St. Booth again for being on, and I just want to say thank you from all of us here at Into the Shadows with Sisters 3, and thank you again for listening. Be safe, and many blessings from here and beyond.